All right, so the first thing you want to do when you're doing this, obviously you want to go download the app. I'm going to be using the construction daily log today to demo this, but you can use any of our other apps. If you type in Snappy into the App Store, a bunch of apps will come up. But just for time's sake, I'm going to use the construction daily log because it's our most refined app. So you would just go into the App Store, type in construction daily log, and then download it. This isn't the first screen you're going to see. You're actually going to see a login screen first. So you can just, make credentials and here, I'll go show you that really quick actually. So it'll look like this, and it'll give you a slight tutorial before you start using the app. So you either create an account or log in. If you've used an app with Snappy before, you can actually just log in. It's not like a specific login for this app or anything like that. Alright, so let me log in really quick. Already logged in. Let's see if this works. There we go. Okay, so this is the first screen you're going to see once you're logged in. If you click on the hamburger menu up top, you'll see you have a bunch of different menus. The only thing that really pertains to the app is the very first one. All this other stuff is like if you want to customize with us or if you want to do an in-app purchase, things like that. So the only one you're going to concern yourself with is the first tab, the current project. So first step here is you go ahead and click Add New Project on the top. And this is going to come up with a new screen that gives you a couple different fields that you can enter in. You can use a logo to kind of identify your project. I'll draw a quick smiley face. And then I'll just call the project name, Bob's site. You can edit this information later, and it's pretty easy to do, so don't worry too much if you don't really know some of this stuff yet. The daily log recipients are the people that are going to be receiving the document once the document's complete. Again, you can change this, so if you want to add another person later or change it or whatever you want to do, you can do it. So I'm just going to put my own email address for now, just so when we finish, I can show you what the report will look like from the user side. So I'm going to press save here. So you can see it still says you don't have any projects. If there's a 1 on the top right corner like that, that means that the project is in queue and it's just trying to back up with our system. So as soon as the app connects to the back end, you can see that my project came up, no problem. All right, so from here, what we're going to do is click on Bob's site, and this is going to open another window for us that is a little bit more detailed. So now we're inside the Bob project, so to speak. And we can do different things like have PDF files, photos, docs, whatnot. So the way we're going to start here, actually, let me go over this really quick. If you want to change any of the information we just did, it would just be edit up here. And then if you want to change the project, obviously you just press change project, and you'll have a list of all the projects that you're working on. Sometimes this takes a little while to load, so give it a second. If it's taking a super long time, what I usually do is close the app and just start it back up. And it usually gets it pretty quick. If you have a little thing like this in the corner, that means it's loading, so just give it a second. Come on. Nothing. Alright, I guess I'll just add a new one if it's not working. Do the same thing, Bob's site. I have a feeling the old one is going to show up as soon as I punch in this information. It seems like my phone's having some issues connecting to the server. See if I could just, oh, if I turn off my Wi-Fi, you won't be able to see the screen anymore. So that's not the answer. There we go. And it's the original one too, funny enough. Okay, so like I said, if it gives you problems like that where it takes a while, just give it a second. Sometimes the server just needs to catch up with the device. So we're gonna click Bob's site. Let's continue here. Where I would go from here is I want to create a new daily report. It has some other options on the bottom here, but all of this stuff pertains to when you're making the actual daily report. So I'm gonna click new daily report here, and we'll walk through what the report contains and then how it looks like when it's all said and done. So the changes we made to this, basically instead of having multiple screens that you would have to flip through by swiping, we made it one big screen where it's just a bunch of drop-down menus. So for example, this first section right here is weather. Weather is usually captured automatically on the phone, so you don't actually have to enter any of this information. But because I don't have my location services on, it's not grabbing it right now. So then you can enter any other information you have. The biggest difference that we have is this right here, where we have 3 different ways to insert information about this particular tab. So any delays caused by the weather, there's a couple ways you can enter this. You can do it by either typing, you can say rain or whatever it is. That's one way. You can also click the microphone and just talk into the phone, and it'll just pick up whatever you're saying. So if you have workers in the field that aren't that fast typers, you can use this. Diapers. So you can see it doesn't pick it up perfectly. So if you use that, make sure that the person using it is talking slow and clearly so that the phone picks it up correctly. But normally it does work pretty well. I've used it with texting a lot. So the next section you see here is the photo section, and similar to the other one, you can click this to either draw, take a photo, or choose from library. Cool thing about this is if you take a photo, it's kind of dark in this room right now, but I'll just take a photo of the desk just so I can specify. And then I press use photo, and now I can click on this photo again and press draw, and I can specify a part of the photo. So say for example I wanted everyone to notice this little ball of light coming out of the desk right here, which was the flash. I could circle something there, maybe put an arrow. I can even change the color if I wanted to, so people will really notice that, hey, there's something right there that you need to look at. So then I press save, and you can see that all those markings that I made on the picture stay on the picture, and that'll be there when you do the final report as well. The last section that you're going to have is documents, and this is if you want to upload any extra documents to it. You can do it from iCloud, you can do it from your phone as well, but that's another way that you can attach information to this. A lot of people won't use the document section. It's usually photos and notes, but it is necessary sometimes, so it's just in there. And if I click the drop down for all these other things, you can see that it all looks pretty similar, which is good. You don't want to have something that's too confusing for your workers, and then they're just constantly calling you and asking you how it works and all this stuff. So we made it very simple now, where it's just a series of drop down menus, and they don't even have to type anything if they don't want to. So I'm only going to fill out one section. Let's see, let's get a good one. Let's do a materials purchase section, and let's just list off a couple things. Tractor. What else do they use at construction sites? Scaffolding stuff, whatever. Doesn't matter. I'm gonna press done there. I just wanted you to see how it'll show up on the final report. The last section that you have on this is your labor logs. So this is how you can keep track of, who's working, when they're working, and how much they're spending when they're working. So if I just press add new here, I can pull up a name. If I click this little clock on the side, it'll pull up names that I've previously entered. So I'll just go ahead and click Bob since this is his house or site or whatever. Say he was the painter and he worked for 8 hours, he traveled 1 hour, and his hourly rate was 25. So I press done. It aggregates that number for me, and you can see on the bottom there, total cost is 200. Cool. So let's say we had someone else working on the site too. Say Rick was there and he was the carpenter, the electrician. He worked 3 hours. He lived close by, and his hourly rate was $20. So I press done, and you can see it aggregates the cost again. Press save, and there you go. So you have another subsection of the same type of situation for your subcontractors, and then the rentals and costs is a little bit different. Instead of asking you for a person, I believe it just asks you for the equipment. Yeah. So let's say, okay, that tractor that I rented, that costed me, it was 5 hours for $30 an hour, and that costed me $150. Cool. So you can see it kind of organizes your day in a way that is easy to see at a distance. And then at the very bottom, you can see that it totals out everything. So my labor work hours are 11 hours. The total amount traveled for those people were 1 hour. My rental cost was 5 hours. So it's basically like a summary. So that's it. Now I press save and send. Make sure that that email at the end was the email that I want to send it to. And now we give it a second. Hopefully it doesn't take too long. All right, so now let me go over the different sections here and what they do. Okay, cool. So this is one version of the report that you'll get, but there's another report that gets produced, and I'll show you that one as well. All right, so I have Bob's site here. If I click that on the very first section where it says, I think it says saved logs. If I click that, what's going to happen is it's going to pull up the form that I just did, and it's going to allow me to make any changes that I want to it. Give me a second. There we go. So it's going to pull up the report I just did and allow me to make any changes that I want to it. So if you decided, you filled out your report for the day, it already produced the PDF, and you're trying to go back and change something, you would just click that button, and you can scroll through this part of the form again and change whatever you need to change. When you press save and send, it'll reproduce the form for you and send it to your email. All right, so I'll press back right here. So the other sections here, I'm going to skip PDF file really quick. If I go to photos though, it'll show me all the photos that I took for this project. Excuse me. It'll show me all the photos I took for this project. So this is another way that you can kind of see everything at a distance rather than having to go into each individual project and click into it and click the email and attachment and all that stuff. So and then the last section is just the docs that I've attached to it. I didn't attach any to this one, so there's none here, but normally this is where they would show up. So PDF files. This basically is where you'll go to get the PDFs that get produced from the report. If I click on the 1012 one, which is the one we just did, that's this guy. But the PDFs also produce a report that looks similar to this, which is basically the same look and feel that we had when we were actually inputting information. And that's basically it. I went ahead and made a form for you, and how long did that take? About 15 minutes. So most of our apps work this way. If you want to use the Snappy app, you'll probably see that it's very similar in structure. And a lot of them are built off of each other. So if you know how to use one, there's a good chance that you know how to use all of them. And there's also there's a good chance if we custom make an app for you that you'll know how to use it as soon as you pick it up, because it's going to be similar to what you would download from the App Store. So before I go, I do want to mention that Snappy is a app building company. We basically make apps for all sorts of businesses. And we've been doing this for a couple years already. Basically, the idea is you approach us with an app idea, we take it to our developers, and they make it using our platform. And because they are using a platform rather than making these apps from scratch, The apps are usually significantly cheaper, and we can make them a lot faster than most native app builders can make it. So if you have any more questions about Snappy in general, or if you just need to talk to me about the app, or if you have questions, my email directly is steven@snappy.com. But you can also contact our support team at support@snappy.com, or our sales team if you want to go that route at sales@snappy.com. I'll stick around for a little bit if you guys have any questions. But other than that, I think that's it for today. We'll probably have another webinar next week about something similar. So if you want to drop in again, and if you have any more questions or just want to watch, feel free to. And yeah, like I said, I'll stick around for a little bit in case you have any questions. Thanks for dropping by, and enjoy the rest of your day.